Hello and welcome to the Franchise Tag Podcast with me, your host Freddie Hall, in what appears to be this dim lit. I've not been captured or kidnapped. I'm in my home, but unfortunately my light bulb just decided to go, so I've makeshifted a light. There might be a small fire that I have to make at some point as we get close into the night here in the UK, because it is very dim and grim on my recording just here. But welcome again to the Franchise Tag Podcast with the old fan, the new fan, and the UK fan. Had Nat Coombs on the other week, great representative of the NFL UK, Nat Coombs Show. Go check that out as well. But tonight we have all the way over from Green Bay, Wisconsin, Matt Ramage of the Matt Ramage Show, a lifelong diehard Green Bay Packer fan, along with our UK representative for the Green Bay Packers, and now officially part of the team, Abbeigh, who's joined the Franchise Tag Podcast. So, get familiar with her face because she's going to be on a lot of the Franchise Tag podcasts going forward. And welcome to the team, Abbeigh. Really appreciate you joining us and very excited for the future here. But obviously, Matt and Abbeigh, please don't take offense to this. Matt, you are the main event. You are the star on the show. So we're obviously going to have to go over to you. I hope you've been going all okay. It's been a great off season, you have to say, Matt. I mean, it's been so active, hasn't it? I mean, even for the Green Bay Packers, it's been active.
Yeah, this off season has been like the draft was like such a roller coaster for so many people because everyone wanted a wide receiver. I think they ended up getting a lot of great players. A lot of people came into the offseason stressing. I think it came out, pretty good. I think this Packers defense is going to be like one of the best in the league. I'm stoked about this offseason. I mean, losing Devontae Adams was activity that maybe people didn't like so much, but I think in the long run it might have helped keep other guys here and make the team better, overall.
Well, that definitely points towards today, because today you've officially extended cornerback Jaire Alexander. He's got a 4-year extension, $84 million. Abbeigh, I saw on Twitter that you were real stoked for this. I mean, he makes him the highest paid cornerback in the league now. Very deserving of it, though. What a cornerback and what an asset to keep on the Green Bay Packers.
I've been waiting for this moment. I think a lot of people have. We were all there just like, there's still time. There's still time. And then I saw the thing. I was like, yes, thank goodness.
I mean, defense wins championships, though, Matt, doesn't it? So keeping these guys around, that's going to be, another year with Aaron. Obviously, re-signing, we'll go into about Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams and everything with the draft as well. But Jaire is such a key piece for you guys, and it must be really great. What's the feeling over in Wisconsin today with this news coming out?
Yeah, like I was at work, and like everyone at my job kind of knows what I do on the internet, talk about the Packers, and people were telling me, they're like, Jaire just signed, and I'm like, man, I gotta go on break so I can like post about it. And but yeah, it's huge news. It's everyone, like she said, everyone wanted it to happen. Wasn't sure it was gonna happen early on or like when it was gonna happen, but obviously it was something that they wanted to have happen. Besides last year, he missed very little time. It seems like everybody, like whenever a player gets hurt, all of a sudden they're injury prone. I saw people saying, well, he's injury prone. Like, he's not injury prone. Just like David Bakhtiari. He had an injury, a bad injury, but before that, he didn't miss many games. So like I think Jaire's gonna be one of the better quarterbacks in the league for a long time. And it's great that they got him locked up. There was no stress in, because I think it was the same feeling like with Devontae with his contract coming up. Like everyone was thinking about it the last couple of years, and obviously it didn't work out. But with Jaire, they got him locked in, and I think that the secondary is going to be legit for a long time. I'm pretty stoked about it.
And of course, a lot of the Green Bay story really starts in March, like you said, with Aaron Rodgers getting his contract extension, 3 years, $150 million, and then just, what was it, days? I'm getting this right way around, aren't I? Aaron signed, then Devontae went. Was it the other way around? I believe that was the right way around, wasn't it? Aaron signed, and then Devontae went.
First, yeah. I think Rodgers said that when he signed, he expected Devontae to come back. I think he said on Pat McAfee show. I wasn't watching during the draft. I think I saw that quote somewhere. So I think even Rodgers thought, yeah, he's coming back. They'll figure it out, but that did not happen.
It did not get figured out. And I mean, go ahead.
The annoying thing for me is that there's this false narrative that the Packers didn't want to pay him, and people are, but they're paying Jaire all this money, and it's like, no, they offered him the same amount of money. He just didn't want to be at the Packers. He didn't want to. He wanted to play with Carr.
Yeah, and it doesn't even make it like I've seen this argument all over it. It's like the Packers wanted to pay him. Like obviously they're trying to. They might have lowballed him early on, like whatever that was last year, whatever it was. But I don't think that had anything to do with it. He wanted to play for the Raiders. That was his team growing up. That's his college quarterback. Is close to his house, or close to his family. And I've heard stories like his grandma doesn't, can't travel as much. So like playing there, it's just good for him. And sometimes that's just what it is. It's not like a player hates this organization or they feel burned or have any type of feelings for it. It's just like, yeah, I want to play it for this team in this city, and that's just better for him. And I don't think the Packers are better without him, but they were able to get pieces because of that. So I think both sides win. We'll see how he does in Oakland, but like, yeah, I think Davante Adams, like people can still cheer. Not Oakland, Las Vegas. But yeah, I think for me, like as a Packer fan, I'll still cheer for him. He's over in AFC. Have a good time unless they end up matching up. But yeah, I just think it was going to happen. That's what he wanted to have.
And is that the feeling in Wisconsin as well? Obviously, over here, what we get is what the media tells us a lot of the time. We're not exactly at like the heartbeat of the fan base. We've got, though, as UK NFL fans, we have our fingers on the pulse of what is going on. But from afar in the Green Bay area, it is that a lot of people's thinking is that, well, we offered, he didn't want to be here. Okay, we can't stop him. Thank you for the hard work you've done. And, sorry, but we couldn't have done more getting, the Super Bowls that we nearly got to and everything like that. And was that the feeling around Wisconsin, or was it a little bit more of animosity when it first happened?
When it first happened, I sensed a lot of anger, like, oh, they let another one get away, like they screwed up again, like kind of like fire everybody. But I mean, that's just like Facebook people. Like, no offense, Facebook people, because I love Facebook people who follow me over there. But like sometimes they're a little over dramatic. They're a little the sky is falling. But I think now that a lot of these players are signing, I think a lot of people are seeing like, all right, we wouldn't have been able to do this with Davante Adams getting paid. So, there'd have been some good, but maybe some guys would have had to let go. So I think people who are actually paying attention realize that might be the best thing for the Packers in the long run. It's going to hurt the offense this year, but the defense is not only just set up for this year, but they're set up going forward. I think most people are coming around to the idea like it might have been for the best for both.
And is that the same thing with Aaron Rodgers as well? Because obviously, again, we are looking from afar over here, but I always get the sense he's a polarizing character. He's an outspoken guy, but you cannot doubt the talent. He's one of the best quarterbacks that we've ever seen. He's been fantastic for Green Bay for his whole career. It's not been an easy journey for him by no means. Coming under the wing of Brett Favre wasn't exactly a warm, embracing relationship when he got there, and you end up getting the job and then it's just been very to and fro with Aaron, with the contract and with Green Bay, and there were so many rumors of him going, and especially when Denver then got Nathaniel Hackett, it sort of seemed like something was getting lined up in a way. And then he goes and gets that extension. Like, what's the feeling towards Aaron? I can imagine it is jubilation and happiness, because he is such a great quarterback, and without him, you are always going to be a peripheral Super Bowl team or an NFC Championship team at least. But with what has really transpired in the last few years, really, is there a little bit of animosity towards him?
I think it was some fans, but like most of the stuff I see like bad is like stuff on the internet, like fans on the internet. And I don't even think, because I think people are misinformed, like because the media will put out a quote 16 times and they'll just keep smashing this. So people get sick of hearing it and they think he keeps talking or something new happened. Like nothing new has happened. The media just finds new ways to recycle these quotes. And then people get fed up and they're like, well, just stay or go. This is like before he signed. So I think people were like getting fed up, like he's making this into some drama, but really he wasn't saying anything. But the media just keeps bashing that subject. That people are like, just let him go, just let him go. And I don't think that's most fans. I think that, like I said, but that's mostly on the internet. The most people I talk to, like in real life, like want Aaron Rodgers back. I love Aaron Rodgers. People talk about like he's got an ego or he's got this. Like every quarterback does. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. Like you're not the best at what you do without being confident. I mean, you don't have to be, whatever about it, which I don't think he is. He's not out there like, I'm the best quarterback of all time. Like people like blow up. So I don't know. I just think he's like easily hated, kind of like Brady. But if you're good at something, like, there's gonna be your team is gonna like you, and every other fan base is gonna hate you. That's kind of how it is. I get it, like with Bear fans, because Bear fans come talk to me a lot. And Bear fans, like their hatred for Rodgers went through the roof after that "I own you" thing, and I absolutely love that. I love it. Like
I loved it.
even if it's not my team, I love trash talk. 'Cause that's kind of what I do. I trash
Oh yeah.
Vikings and Bears. I go out with different fan bases. I love when players do it too. I remember Urlacher trashing the Packers way back when, and I love that too. I was like, dude, I want a little bit of rivalry, a little trash talk. I mean, I think it's good for the game. It's entertainment, and like trash talk to me is entertaining. I love all of it, man.
Some people take it the wrong way, don't they? Like I follow a couple of Bears and Vikings fans, and there's always the banter there. But some people, I think we were talking about the other day, like some people really go in and like serious, like people literally have like this hatred against Aaron Rodgers to the point where they make comments about him them wanting him to have a career-ending injury, and you think, I don't know, I would never think to say that. Even
that's
like
when
Bears,
it goes beyond sport, isn't it? It's
and like they
it's
attack him personally about his like private life, and I think that's not who, like that's not our business.
No,
he's a player. That's
like on my podcast and my stuff, I've never ever talked about who Rodgers is dating or any player because I don't care. Like I wish him well, have a good time, but like I'm not like I'm not trying to be TMZ or whatever. I don't care who he's dating or who he's talking to or what he's doing. But Viking fans are the fan base that like wishes injuries, like that's all they got because they got nothing. Like the Bears, are trash, but like they have respectable fans. Like I talk trash about the Bears, but I get along with a lot of fans. They have history. They have whatever. But the Vikings have nothing. They got no ring. They got nothing. They're like
they've got Zadarius Smith now.
Yeah, they're all jacked up. And I got no hate for Zadarius, but the Vikings are gonna Viking. I feel like the Vikings have a hex on them. They will never do anything. Like, they talk about the Packers. You have 2 Hall of Fame quarterbacks back to back and only 2 rings. That's 2 more than you. So both of those quarterbacks have more championships than your whole franchise history. And they had all these players. They had Adrian Peterson, Randy Moss, Chris Carter, that 70s defense, like one of the best defenses ever, one of the best running backs ever. Chris Carter is one of the best wide receivers ever. Randy Moss is. They had them both on the same team. They went and got Brett Favre. Couldn't get it done with him. Like, doesn't matter what the Vikings do. They're never going to win anything. They're just trash.
I'm literally crying.
I'm so pleased that my headphones are on because my partner is a Vikings fan, admittedly a very peripheral one, and she just because every time she sees going, she's just like hate Green Bay. But what's really funny is she doesn't really know why. She just has this sort of thing where she's like, well, I'm a Viking now, so I don't like them, so therefore I shouldn't like them. Not that she'd be wishing injury or anything like that. But I think you're right with the whole, like, I like that grit and that, that we call it like shithousery.
Yeah.
Over here, like that's sort of like
over there.
Yeah, like you get in their face. Like I remember people, like as a Steelers fan, people always say about like the perfect Antonio Brown, Juju Smith-Schuster thing that happened, and how it was like dirty hit and everything like that. And Perfect did a full-blooded challenge on a rival, which was not a good hit. But then when Juju the game year after just took him out, it was a subtle middle finger that you don't mess with our team, we don't forget. And I think in sport that's what gets us excited. It is them rivalries. It is that that team mentality, and that's what's so great about the NFL with these sort of subdivisions, I suppose, within the NFL. I mean, these 14 mini divisions is we have that rivalry 6 times a year. And it's so good because, and some fans are great with it. Some fans go way over the top, but that's sort of fun at the same time because you just look at online and you just think, I care, but I don't need to care that much about how over the top they go. But of course, there will be a lot of fans that are going to be very excited over here in the UK for the game in, what is it, in October 9th against the New York Giants.
October 9th. Yeah.
October 9th. Which I don't suppose you probably know this, Matt, but there is a very big thing in the UK with the controversy about tickets, because the tickets are very hard to come by, and a lot of people it is a big thing online, isn't it, Abby? That people get very aggravated.
It gets made a thing, but it's not actually a thing.
No, it's not a thing.
Because last year I was looking the day, but I know the Packers is going to be sought after. I know I probably might have to get like a resale ticket. but like even last year, there were tickets like on the day for like £100, £120, and I think people make like I said a tweet the other day. People like posting about the stress, like about not getting them, is just making this thing that's not actually doesn't actually exist. Like I genuinely, I'll be shocked if it is a massive issue. Obviously, I'm anxious about it. But...
Well, what's really great is it is on October 9th, because our two co-hosts who usually do the podcast are Adam and Andrew. Adam's a Green Bay Packer fan and Andrew is a New York Giant fan. They're really great pals. And Andrew is getting married on October the 2nd, which is the week prior. And there is a game in London, so we are going to have to miss that game, which is the Vikings game, actually. It's Vikings against the Saints. So we're missing that. But when we got wind, when Green Bay said they were going to play in London, we looked at the schedule, and obviously he told us about, invited us to the wedding. The invites are out. We RSVP'd and everything like that. And then suddenly the cogs started turning for all of us. But hang on a minute, they could play the Giants in London on your wedding day. And suddenly he was getting very, very anxious. Of course, Adam, our Green Bay Packer fan, was getting very, very nervous. So then finally, when the fixtures came out, and it was a weekend after, everyone's all jubilated now. We can enjoy the wedding. Not that we wouldn't have enjoyed it anyway, given it is his wedding, but we can feel a bit more happy about it, I suppose. But then we get to see that game a week after, which would be great. Are you tempted to have a look at coming over to London to watch the game, or is it obviously it's a very long flight, it's very expensive, I understand that, but would it be something that you may think about?
I would love to, but like I said, it's very expensive. I've never been on an airplane before. I feel like that'd be like quite the first airplane ride.
It's like it's like a split flight, like 9. Well, I'm going from Chicago, to Chicago, and I've got to stop at Dublin on the way there and the way back from Birmingham.
Ooh, that's a long flight.
And it's nearly a 10-hour flight. Yeah.
It would feel an even longer flight if you're lost as well. I mean, that 12 hours would feel like 24 hours on the plane going back. But obviously, this is Green Bay. This is the Green Bay, the last team in the NFL who haven't played in London. So this is going to be a really great occasion. And what is the general feeling over in when you got told that the Green Bay Packers were playing in London? Because I know a lot of fans get very upset with the fact that they feel like they lose a home game, even though they don't. It never tends to be. It sounds awful to Jacksonville Jaguar fans, but it never tends to be a good team that loses the home game. It tends to be their away game. So what was the general feeling when it was announced that they were coming over to London? Is it a thing that gets a bit of pushback, or which Green Bay fans quite happy about it, or what's the general feeling, or is it not? No one's really that bothered about it because it's just another game.
I've seen a lot of people upset about it because they are losing, technically losing a home game, even though they have the same amount of home games that they had last year. But because people, Packers sell out their stadium every year, every game. And when they go to other stadiums, like the Jaguars, not to beat up on them right now, but then they help sell out that stadium too. But I have no problem with it. I didn't right away. I felt UK fans deserved it. They're not losing really a home game. They're playing the same amount of home games. They haven't done it yet. So I think it's like entitlement to say, well, the Packers should never, ever do it. If every other team is doing it, many of them, more than once, then the Packers got to do their part too. And like the UK fans, and I'm not just saying it because I'm on with you, but you guys stay up till 2, 3 in the morning to watch games. Not just UK, but all over the world. There's fans that are so dedicated. I don't know if I could be that dedicated for a team in a different country. Not that I couldn't support another country's teams, but just to get into it. To if I just started watching soccer or football, it would be hard to get into. Because even college football, I can't get into it because that's American. But it takes a lot of work and effort to really get into it and have passion and love. And if it's something so far away, something that's so hard to do, you guys have at 2 a.m, you don't have the same, ability to buy the hat you want or whatever. And if you do want to buy a hat or whatever merch, it's so expensive to have it shipped over there. I'm sure now you guys have people making stuff over there and stuff, but
it's still not I think I don't know, the cheese head is, you can probably see it.
Yeah.
It's above me. But yeah, I think I said on the show with you, Matt, that was from the Packers Pro Shop, the taxes and postage fees was £50.
Yeah, that
whatever got bought. And I think I'm bringing. I've already said I'm bringing another suitcase. We're buying another suitcase over there, filling that up.
Because like where I'm at, you can buy a cheese at a gas station.
Yeah, like.
Because I remember like my wife's friend was coming to visit, and she's from a different state, not a Packer fan, but we were like showing her all the Packer stuff, and I just stopped at a gas station, and got her a cheesehead. They sell them. They don't sell them at every gas station, but you can find them, you know, around like most stores.
I don't know what it is about Steelers stuff, but I don't know whether it's a sort of a trademark thing or an ownership thing, but you just can't get Steelers stuff in the UK. Like, there's just not really any of it around. Like, we have USA like sports shops, I suppose, or like they do stalls and they tour. There's one particular one that tours around the country, and they tend to do shopping
like
centres.
Fanatics or something.
Yeah, Fanatics. But they tour around the country, and they'll do little pop-up shops in well, we call them shopping centres, malls for you guys. Like, they'll just do that around. And even there, you can get a T-shirt that's Steelers, but you can't really get a jersey or anything like that. Whereas you can get feels like every other team as well. But I don't know what it is with that sort of thing. But you are right about the commitment thing. I mean, the draft obviously was only a couple of weeks ago. That started at 1 a.m. here and didn't finish till 5 a.m. And which is great. Like, I watched the whole thing, and I do absolutely love it. But there is a point where you sort of go, all right, pick 30. The sun's sort of coming up, and you can hear the birds tweeting a little bit more, and you go, "Oh, was it all that much worth it?" But it is. But we don't. It is so much worth it because we love it so much, and it's so fun, and that's what's great for the NFL UK fan base is that we have a lot of accessibility here to still watch it, and yeah, it is until late, but you can. It's
expensive. Like that. It is expensive though.
It is, but I think. It's like any sport.
I think sports in general, like I think if like over there,
Excuse me, sorry about that.
It's all right. It's like if over there.
Sick.
I don't know if like over there you can just access like if you wanted to the Premier League, or if you'd have to then get like a subscription like we have to do a Game Pass over here.
I think if you're like a Packer fan living in like Pittsburgh, you'd have to get like the Game Pass, whatever kind of pass. If you don't want to miss any Packer game ever, unless you can stream it or whatever somewhere. But yeah, because they don't air it every game everywhere in America. Like Wisconsin gets all the Packer games and like Viking games. You know, the games usually that mean something, like NFC teams and like AFC teams is different. Like I don't get every whatever like Steeler game. I don't see every one, but yeah, but every Packer game I get. Even some people on the border of Wisconsin, like who live like I think it's the south part of Wisconsin, or like wherever Minnesota is. They don't. Sometimes they're stuck getting Vikings because that there's like an overlap in the state of like the TV companies or whatever. So some of those people I hear complaining. I couldn't imagine not you don't have to watch Packer game like.
Yeah, like I started off with Red Zone. Like literally, that was what I'd watch because it had the best bit, and it kind of got me to understand it. But then it was like, actually, no, I actually want to watch the Packers play every week. I think the only thing with them coming over here that people are obviously a bit, I've seen like a few people commenting is that obviously there's like not a bye week. I'm not sure if, like we said, not sure if there is a bye week, but I feel like that is a lot. Like it's a long way to go to play a game to then go back to have to play again. I don't know if they're just. I think what
they're trying to. What I think their argument is if you're going to come to London, you should have a bye week after, which makes a lot of. I think makes a lot of sense. I completely get that. But then some teams, I think, it's like week. I mean, the first game is week 5, maybe week 4. So I could see where maybe some teams go, well, no, we much prefer having the bye week at week 9, maybe, where it's more of a middle season break rather than having one that starts. I remember Steelers, I think last year or the year before, had one at like week 4. And it was like, well, what's the point in having one in week 4? Because we've got so many games to go. They're like, of course. And in fact, it wasn't last year, it was the year before. It was when we went on the unbeaten run. And we had the early one. And I was like, well, if we had that in week 9, 10, then maybe you would have seen the attrition that did happen later on in the season, because it definitely did affect later on in the season, because you could see how tiresome it was on the team. But speaking of, London, and obviously now there's going to be a game in Germany this year. You got the games going back to Mexico. Like, what thought do you subscribe to, Matt, about the NFL's expansion into Europe and across the world? And where do you think maybe it might target next to sort of expand this fan base and to ultimately gain more money for the NFL? Not that it's lacking in any money, but it's definitely. Yeah, they want the monopoly for sure. But are you in it as the state of, you representing the state of Wisconsin now? But are fans happy about the expansion? Because it clearly is happening. There's been rumors here for years about us getting a team. I think we're a million miles away from that. I don't think that.
I think that's
happen.
a weird.
That's a weird argument that gets complained about over here. But definitely the expansion into Germany now has really shown that the NFL is not afraid to be pushing what where they can achieve and what they can achieve.
Yeah, I think that their plan is to like get like worldwide. Like they want everyone to be football fans and not just to buy jerseys, but obviously that it's for money because that's what they're in the business for. But I think it'd be tough to have teams in different countries because like every week the travel would just be like insane. I wouldn't be upset like if they decided and they figured it out and like, hey, we're gonna have a team wherever. Maybe if they started in Canada or whatever. I don't know how they do it, but yeah, I think it'd be tough. Like if they had a team in London and a team in Mexico and a team in Canada, or Canada's a little different. They're basically America. I mean, it's not, but it's not quite as far. It's like from Wisconsin. I don't know how long it takes to get there, but like they're kind of our neighbors a little bit. But yeah, I think it's cool, and I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to expand. Like even like with kids, like the NFL is like so good at trying to get more fans, keep the fans rolling in. Like,
they show on Nickelodeon, don't they?
Yeah. Like Nickelodeon, they're putting games on. They have like this
putting like the slime on it.
Yeah. The NFL, I think, is the best out of all the major sports in America about like keeping fans rolling in and trying to keep the game going and like going overseas and going different countries. It's part of that. Like I thought that the NFL Europe thing that they had years ago, I thought that I used to watch that all the time. That you'd see guys come up. I think I'm not sure why that didn't work or like how that ended, but I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, like personally, I can't see the dynamics working for like I don't know, like unless you had so you've got your American teams and then so it's completely separate, but then obviously you play depending like where you get in like the league or something. But I couldn't see it.
Yeah, I think they'd have to have multiple.
Yeah, like I just
area, so there's that travel continuous, and teams would just be dragging like
it would just yeah. And I don't know this. I don't want to say this because obviously how like you can say the wrong thing now, but like it's American football. It's like is there rugby? Is there rugby? Like and is there like it would be like. I don't know. Is rugby in the States? I'm not too sure.
I think, like, I don't see it, but like I think that like in schools they play it in some places.
Yeah,
I see it in movies. But, like where I'm at, like there's not a lot of rugby, but I know that the game is like respected. Like whenever people talk about it, like how tough it is and all that. But I'm not sure that people really watch. But I'm not sure that you have a lot of access to it. Like. Because like basketball, baseball, football, it's like on our channels all the time. It's like everywhere. But like rugby, like some of those sports, you have to go look for them. Kind of like you guys do with the NFL. You look for it. You fell in love with it. So it would just take, like for a game like rugby or whatever sport, for Americans to not have to try hard to find. Like, I think a lot of people saw it and they might get into it more. I mean, the same like with American football over there, but it's just not there. So.
It's not as accessible, I don't think. I think the NFL is really accessible. Like, like on Game Pass, like we get all the there's documentaries on there, I'm pretty sure there's films, there's lots and lots on there, and obviously you can rewatch the games. Whereas I'm not sure if there is that kind of thing for I don't think. Well, I don't know.
I think what the fundamental thing is for NFL here in the UK is I think it's grown to a level here that it's sort of peaking a little bit, and there's a few things they've done to sort of push the peak a little bit higher, but I'm not sure overly now what they could do more to get the fan base bigger. But what I do believe is it is grassroots. It is starting from the bottom, and it's like Abbeigh and Matt, you're both saying with the rugby being the example there. Not many people play rugby in America because one, it was founded in the UK, and not everything travels well. And also, I doubt kids in your schools play rugby. I doubt that happens. Whereas, and it's the same over here. American football isn't our sport. It was your sport that you created, and we've taken on and supporting it. But we don't play American football in schools. So that's
I know there are
fundamentally.
teams.
There is teams, yeah, but
yeah,
at a sports or physical education PE level of a child, that they play many sports, obviously, but I don't think there is that seriousness for NFL or American football style for that type of, and that's where I think personally that's where they should be looking for anything to grow. I think any sport looks at that for that to grow.
We've got like the academy thing, haven't we, over here? And I think there's three, maybe more. I've seen 3 players that were drafted to like teams in the States. So that's obviously like a good direction to go in. And so that would be interesting to see if they could get that kind of thing into schools, like get the awareness there that actually, do you know what I mean? If you wanted to do this, there is the opportunity, but it's getting it like you said, grassroots.
Well, it kind of like soccer, or as we know as soccer. Like in school, everyone plays soccer. Like I did, at least. Like when I don't know what schools are like now. It's been a while, but everyone played soccer at recess. Like that's what we played. There's soccer teams on the weekend for the kids that were actually good at it. But then, like as an adult, not many people watch it. Like not many people just get into it like that. But like most kids played it at some point, whether it was recess or in your backyard, or if they're on a whatever type of league. But yeah, that's just one sport that is huge most places in the world, but America really doesn't watch it passionately like that.
Yeah, but obviously, I think getting in more grassroots level means there's more opportunity for more people to support and play NFL, and obviously it means more opportunity for more Green Bay Packer fans. So it's a win-win for everybody. It's a win-win for everybody. Matt, I've watched a few of your videos on your channel, and I tell you, my man, you have spoken to some of the great guys in Green Bay. I mean, Abbeigh, I know you're itching to hear the list of people that Matt has spoken to. I'm sure you're itching to probably ask him about who he liked most, who he didn't like. No, mate, I mean, you can't do that to us, mate. You can't do that to your Packers.
Like I know, like obviously, like because I've noticed, obviously, it has like been snowballing for you, which is really cool. And obviously, when I came on your show, and people were like, oh my God, that was so cool that you're on his show. I got like DMs and people were like so excited. And obviously, it's definitely snowballing for you because you've been speaking to players, which I think is absolutely crazy. But it must be,
It's actually like really cool. And it's funny because like when people say that, like I don't see myself as like naturally like that good. I have fun, I'm like when people are excited to like be on my show or to like, I don't know, it's weird to me because I still consider myself like just starting, I mean, like I'm just having fun. I'm not all knowledgeable. I'm just a fan. I drink beer usually. It's a little early here for me. I just got out of work, but I just have fun. Like I'm interviewing players. I don't really consider interviewing. I'm just talking with them, and usually I'm drinking because I do get a little nervous sometimes, and just have a few drinks. It makes you feel good, eases it up. No, but like one of my first one was Haha Clinton Dix came to my house for a podcast. That was one of my favorites because he actually helped me a lot. Like with him coming on my podcast early on, especially at my house, and just being really cool with me. Made other players like, oh, he must be cool, because I would like name drop him. Like, I had Haha Clinton Dix on my podcast. Would you like to come on and this and that? So like, I would kind of like name drop. So like, oh, if he did it, then it must be cool. This guy's all right. And then more players came on. Then there was like a break in between where I kind of stopped asking because I wasn't like really that good yet.
And that's when the requests started rolling in. And they were begging. They were begging to be on the Matt Ramage Show.
And then I ended up like this off season. I was like, I'm just gonna ask, and I'm just gonna try, and like, because having players on is nerve wracking. I'm not a journalist. I didn't go to school for none of this, so like just talking to a microphone is like not normal for me, especially interviewing people who I'm like I don't want to look stupid in front of. So, but like Preston Smith was probably one of the most fun ones. He's someone who I've talked to for a while, like briefly. So like having him come on the podcast was probably one of the most fun ones. Obviously, he was in my house. I was so nervous for that one though. But after we started talking a little bit, I wasn't so nervous. But I think Adrian Amos this off season, he was cool because like he's someone I never really seen do podcasts. So I was surprised he said yeah, but I was like, I'll just ask. What the worst they can do is say no or ignore me. And Kenny Clark was on my podcast twice. He's like one of the most like large, like quiet guys. I don't think he's always that way, like on the field in the locker room with his friends, his teammates. From what I hear, he's a trash talker. Like you see on Twitter a little bit. But yeah, he's a very quiet dude, but he's just so nice. Like all the players that I've talked to were just so nice. Like they're humble. They're not all Hollywood. They're not, you know what I mean? They're not like thinking that they're better than everyone. Like I don't know if people would think that, but you know what I mean? I just think that they're just like everyone else. They just have a really cool job.
Yeah, I think it's just your approach to it as well. That, like you said, you're not a journalist, but it makes it more fun because obviously I've done journalism work in horse racing. It's quite strict. Like you don't ask this, you don't ask that. And I think that's why people watch you is because it's way more fun to watch. For me, I don't.
What I try to do, oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
What I try to do is like not ask media type of questions, like. But at the same time, I don't want to look stupid. Like I ask them a question, I don't be like, "What kind of question is that?" I don't want to. Like, what's your favorite color? But like,
green. Surely the answer's green.
I want to ask questions to like let the fans get to know them and stuff like I want to know. Like even sometimes some of the questions might be dumb, but like I think it's cool to learn like where they came from, like when they started playing football, who their favorite team was when they were growing up, who was their favorite player. Like their favorite moment in college and their favorite moment in the NFL. Like if they're a receiver, the first catch from Aaron Rodgers. Like I just think that those questions are interesting because the media, like for the press conferences and all that, they're gonna ask all the questions everybody wants to know. I always say like nobody's tuning in to the Matt Ramage Show to get educated. Like maybe find out a few things, but no one's like, I wonder what Matt thinks about this. He's
the thing is, you ask the questions that like nobody else thinks to ask, so it makes it interesting because it is the sort of stuff that like as a fan it would be good to know, but you wouldn't know, like you said, because it's not a media type question.
Yeah, that's exactly like what I did, what I try to do, and just have fun because I did a podcast. Like this is actually my second time. I did a podcast the first time. Tom Crabtree was like my main guest. Like I would have a podcast. Like, I had no guest. Nobody wanted to come on. But Crabtree would once in a while. And I was really horrible. I was like on a phone. I didn't have any equipment. I had a laptop that hardly worked. All my guests were on a phone and I had like a microphone and my phone would be on speaker and I would just point it at, which still works. So people can use that. But then I quit because I was like, I suck and I don't want to do this no more. And I was still doing the video thing, but I just wasn't doing the podcast. And then I was like, screw it, I'm going to try it one more time. And this time I learned some tricks. I learned something, prepare better. I've had players on, and I wasn't prepared enough. And then you ended up looking stupid. You're stuttering. You're like, you like lose yourself. I've had like podcasts with players that I froze. I had Tim Boyle on a podcast, and I froze halfway through. Wasn't live. He was really cool about it, and we got back going. But like I get nervous. Like I'm not trained for this, but like you get better. And this time around, it's more about like trying to have fun instead of trying to be. I don't know what I was doing the first time, but I think I was in my head too much. Like I wanted to be like this great.
Yeah, like if you set like a line for something, it's like that's what I didn't want to do. I've been asked to do podcasts and things before about no, and it's because you get so in your own head about it, wanting to be perfect, and actually it's the like not being so scripted actually makes it so much better anyway.
Yeah, what I do when I have like the players on this off season, like I'll have a list of things I want to ask, and some of them I don't ask. Like a lot of them I don't ask. Because then you just like let the conversation go, and then you ask questions off what they say. But like when you're first starting, it's hard. Like your brain was just like, I'm out. Your brain just shuts off, and it's. But yeah, I think this time around, I realized it's all about having fun. And if you're having fun, I think people will enjoy listening or watching. And yeah, I just don't take it. I take it serious, but I just don't take it so serious where I'm like scared anymore.
Yeah,
that's good. Like that's the exact sort of same with me doing this. I mean, when I started this, it was just a conversation I had with a friend in a pub, and who I knew could edit, and he did that as a job, and said, I've got this great idea. I really like the idea of doing American football podcast, thinking that it was quite innovative at the time. And then upon then researching, I was like, oh, there's actually loads. But then I wanted to find a way that maybe was different to everybody else. And that's where maybe I got in my own head a lot of wanting it to be fun, but also, factual in a way as well, but not boring. And you're trying so hard to do so many things, and you're juggling so many things, and you want it to have like a great setup of how it looks and everything like that. And then it takes everything like this takes time, and it sometimes is massive learning curves all the time. It's definitely about who you have around you as well. I mean, like there's been times where I've just absolutely, you have bad days and you just don't want to do a podcast. And now, like the guys we have on the team now, like push each other so much, and they do so much for the podcast, and it's been really great, like meeting like-minded people, and because they didn't owe me anything when they came, and when Abbeigh, yourself, and the guys who we have on, they don't owe me anything for helping this podcast, but we all were on the train and pushing forward the right way, and that's what's so nice about it. And at one point, it really mattered to me about how many how many people listen each week, how many views do we get, how much attention is this post getting. Whereas now, it sounds horrible, and please, everyone listen, share it with your friends, like it, retweet it, share it, everything like that. We'd love to have that, but I try not to focus on that really at all now, because I'm more interested in just like what we're going to talk about, like and where can we have fun with this, and what avenue should we go down, and sometimes it's better to not have a plan, isn't it? And you're right about getting in your own head about it, when it's better just to be relaxed. And maybe we should take up drinking more often on the podcast. We never do. Maybe it sounds like it could make for a very different podcast.
It actually it makes it fun. I try not to get too much, because nobody wants to listen to a podcast that's all like
he's getting completely juiced.
To be, like, blacked out or anything. But yeah, like as far as like views and listens, I try to never look at how many people listen to podcasts. Sometimes, like when I'm on that page, it's there. But I try not to look, because then you have one that has a lot of listens, and then one that doesn't, and then you're like, why does that one not? And it's so all over the place, because I have podcasts with like Packer fans like myself that have more views or listens than like one with Preston Smith. So it's like it's just all over the place. Like maybe that day more people had nothing to do, so they listen. So I just try to have fun, like do it, like not pay attention to how many people are listening. Cause like, I'm actually surprised, like how many people like say nice things about me. Like I don't think I just think I'm just goofing off, and I'm not, And then another thing about you guys, which I think is cool about UK podcasters, is that people can listen. Not that Americans can't either, but people over there can listen and understand your perspective. Like you guys are talking, because you obviously have your own a little bit different perspective. Like that staying up till 2 or 3 in the morning just to watch a game is crazy to me, or getting up that early. I used to work at night, so I kind of used to do that. I'd sleep for a little bit, wake up, watch football, go back to sleep for a little bit, and go back to work. But yeah, I think it's cool that you guys have your own thing, and obviously Americans can listen to, because it's all Packers are Packers. But I do think it's cool that you guys, you started your own little thing over there, and everybody over there can, relate to exactly what you're talking about.
Well, thank you, man. I really appreciate that. And only really one final question is, what's your favorite color?
It actually
green.
Happened when I was a little kid, back when people asked those questions, I always said green. And number 3 was my favorite number. I don't know why people have favorite numbers.
Number 3 is my favorite number as well.
You know why? Because back in the day when I was a kid, they had, when you had cable, your TV had to be set on channel 3. So the number 3 was always there on the TV. It was like way, a long time ago before we had flat screens. And so there's always a 3 there. So whenever someone said which favorite number, no one ever asked you that as an adult. But when you're like 6, 7 years old, everyone wants to know, what's your favorite number?
It's like when you get your trainers, isn't it? You're like, oh yeah, I want to see how fast I can run in these little trainers like kids. And you decide, sorry, that was really random.
The Go Faster shoes. Always get Go Faster shoes when you're a kid. Anyway, on that note, thank you for joining us, Matt. We really do appreciate it.
Hey, I appreciate you having me on. This was fun.
Thank you. Thank you, Abbeigh, for joining us.
It's great to speak to you again.
Yeah, it was good talking to you again.
And thank you, Abbeigh, for joining us as well for your first time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No worries at all. Next time we'll be on, hopefully I'll be in a well-lit room. And if you don't see me for a few days, I live in like just the outskirts of London area. Phone the right people. But I'd make the worst Cub Scout or whatever it is who makes fires, because there's no, this room is so
You get a
dimly lit now.
flashlight.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'd look like something. What was that horrible horror film that was like filmed on a camcorder all them
The
years?
Blair
years
Witch
ago?
Project.
Blair Witch Project. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
like.
I'm just taking a quick picture of like everyone on the pod, by the way. So smile.
Oh,
Yeah, the
go
Blair
ahead.
Witch Project back in the day. Like, I'm not like a horror movie kind of guy. That movie tweaked me out a little bit. Whenever like we heard something in the house, like it's the Blair Witch. It wasn't like scary.
I watched it and I was like, I
it's
don't
not really
get it.
scary. It's just kind of like every moment you're kind of waiting for something crazy to happen. But yeah, it wasn't like scary like the old time scary movies like Chainsaw Massacre or whatever. Those movies really ain't my thing, because my brother used to make me watch them as a kid, and they would scare me. And now as an adult, like I'm not afraid of them. I always tell my kids, I'm not scared. I just don't want to.
That's exactly. I'm not big on
Yeah.
I'm not scared. I don't want to go through it. I'd rather
it's like a roller
not.
coaster to me. Like
Yeah.
I don't do roller coasters. Like they're like, the reason people like them is because you feel like you're almost dying. I don't want to almost die.
I'm a
I
lot
did Halloween-
happier.
Oh.
I'm a lot happier with 2 feet on the floor. That's
Yeah.
where
I did Halloween Horror Nights, and that I was in tears.
Dude,
I was like, I'm being chased by clowns. I'm being chased by people with scissors.
no, I don't need that in my life. Like I remember
It's an adrenaline rush.
they had a roller coaster in Green Bay. There's a park called Bay Beach, and it's kind of like a mini fairground type of thing. And it's the only thing in Green Bay kind of like that. And they put a roller coaster in, and my kids were young then. They're like, "Oh, we got to go on the roller coaster," but I couldn't act scared. Like I don't like roller coasters at all. I haven't done a roller coaster since I was like one time when I was a teenager, and I decided, that's enough of that. But my kids were like, "Oh, let's go." I'm like, I can't, I gotta, man up for my kids. So we went on, and then I'm just like stiff, like, oh my goodness, and they're like, yay! It's not like a huge roller coaster; it's a normal roller coaster. And they're like, let's do it again. I'm like, that's enough of that. Like,
I've got a bad back. I can't do it
I
again.
couldn't tell them, like, I ain't doing that again. That clickety clack. Plus, the roller coaster is wooden. I don't think roller coasters should be wood. I feel like, a beaver gets its way out over on the bottom, the whole thing's gonna collapse. Don't need that.
Wooden roller coaster is such an American thing. There's like that would never fly. Where have you seen wooden roller coaster
There's
around
one
here?
at Thorpe Park. I'm
No.
99% sure there's one. There is.
No.
And there was
This
one
roller
at Blackpool
coaster was
Pleasure
like-
Beach.
I think that the one in Green Bay was
That's been
owned by
shown.
Elvis. Like, he had his own.
No
little
way.
Yeah, so
So cool.
that's the thing too, is like they just took it down, and Elvis has been gone for a long
He
time.
left the building. He left the building, some may say.
I was like, then they're bragging about like Elvis used to own this. I don't want no used antique roller coaster. I want a brand new one, not brand new. I don't want to be the first one. Let it go for like a year and see if any craziness happens, and then maybe I consider it. But yeah, I'm not trying to be on some old wooden roller coaster. That just seems sketchy.
Thank you, Matt. I really appreciate you coming on tonight. And thank you, Abbeigh, as well. You'll be seeing her face a lot around the Franchise Tag podcast as we go forward. More of these type of episodes to come in the coming months, as well as so much more content while we're in the off season. We need to fill the blank space between now and September with something, don't we? But until then, thank you very much. Have a good rest of your week.
Thanks. Bye.